And welcome to another edition of East L.A. Sports. And as we come into the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, and it is now our particular moment in time, and very proud moment in time here, to bring to our viewership here on East L.A. Sports Scene the executive director of this very facility that we are producing in here. As I mentioned, the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, now a landmark site here in the community in more ways than one. But Mr. Ozzie Lopez, he is our guest, and he is going to tell us the entire story about not only the center itself, but his background and what he does here in terms of being the director of this very important site. Ozzie Lopez, welcome.
How are you, Rico?
I'm doing well, sir.
Thank you very much
doing
for having
well.
me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Ozzie, it's a pleasure for us to have you here with us, because we want to get the story firsthand.
All right.
From you as the executive director of this very important, I want to call it a community institution now.
Yeah.
Because it has grown and grown. But Ozzie, let's begin by going back in time a little bit and give our viewers a little bit about your professional profile and your background.
Okay. Well, again, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of the East L.A. sports scene. I actually grew up watching it when it was on Time Warner Cable, so I'm happy that you're able to use our facility here at the Tech Center and the studio that we have to showcase the show. My story is very similar to a lot of the young men and women that come out of the East Side. I grew up in the unincorporated part of East L.A. Had the opportunity to go to Garfield High School. Okay. Go Bulldogs!
Hey.
So I'm a Bulldog.
Yes.
I became involved in high school in civic engagement opportunities. I was actually sharing the story a couple of weeks ago with a friend of mine. As you know, we now have a new mayor. We have a mayor, Eric Garcetti, who just became the 42nd mayor. And when I was still in high school, I was a senior in high school, I had the opportunity. I was hired by the city of L.A. while being a senior in high school.
Oh,
so this mayor now marks the 4th mayor that I've had the opportunity to work for.
Wow.
So I'm very excited about the fact that in my lifetime I've been able to work for 4 mayors, and I hope that I'm able to work for a few more before I choose to go off into the sunset. But my interest in civic engagement started off early on. During that time, I worked. Going back to that story, I met the late Mayor Bradley during the LA riots.
Okay.
And that's what began that passion for me in terms of working in civic engagement opportunities. I told my dad on a Saturday when we were watching television one morning that I wanted to help rebuild LA, or at least contribute my part as a citizen. And he took me out to off of Manchester, and I can't remember the cross street. And it just so turned out that that's where the mayor at the time went to do his cleanup. Yes. And I was very moved by that. And ever since then, I've wanted to improve the quality of life of Angelinos, and most importantly, the youth that I can come across and work with and touch and hopefully inspire to be better. Yes. And I've dedicated my life to that and my career to that.
And Ozzie, as many of the professionals in our community, whether they are lawyers, doctors, law enforcement agents, or firefighters, whatever the case may be at the professional level, many of them did play sports. There's a sports thread that's really a fabric of their psyche and their personality, and the same goes for you, because you played football.
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about that.
Again,
sports,
I'm a Bulldog at heart, and I was very proud to have worn the Bulldog red and blue from 1989 through 1992. Actually played the 90, 91, and then going into the 89, 90, and 91 seasons. Graduating high school in 92. I played at the time my sophomore year. I was a B. So we had the Bs, which were known as now the Js, the JVs. And then my last 2 years, I was a defensive back at the varsity level. So that was a life-changing experience for me, because the coaches that we had at the time, the late Coach Robinson, they were very strict in how they managed their football team, because in everything that we do, you manage people. If you're working in a team, it's still people management. And he definitely instilled in us a hard work ethic. He made sure that if we wanted to be successful in life, we had to have that character, and we have to have that work ethic, that you have to be the first one at practice in the morning and be close to the last one to leave, and you have to grind every single day. And he instilled that in us, not only from the perspective of playing a team sport, but from the perspective of how you should carry out your life. Yes. And that's a big component of who I am today.
Okay. And Ozzie, it goes without saying that there were some honors as a player.
Talk a
little bit about that, because you really excelled at your position.
I don't talk about that much. I always get bashful about it, but I was a defensive back, and on my senior year, I was the 4A East Side Player of the Year.
Okay.
And I made the All-City
Okay.
League 4A team.
Okay.
So those were two pretty cool honors. You know,
Yes.
I was excited. I mean, at the time, I weighed 147 pounds, right? And we were playing some guys from Carson High School that were up in 210, 220. So the fact that I was able to compete,
Yes.
and then be recognized at that level, that was a big honor for me.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely, because
that.
many times, we don't rest on the laurels. We just want to move forward and get on with life. But sometimes, and this is why it's so important, the way we put East LA Sports Scene together, when we bring our leaders, our mentors, our role models, our heroes in the community, we want to give them the opportunity to really tell the story.
Thank you.
And if I can bring a little bit out during that portion of the interview, I want to do so. And thank you for responding that way,
Thank you.
Ozzie. But again, there it is, TEAM, Together Everybody Achieves More. And Coach Robinson instilled that with you. And to this day, very disciplined. You're very, very professional in what you do. And I just want to go into one more phase of your high school career, because there are not too many varsity alumni players right now in this city or throughout the country that can say they played in the East L.A. Classic.
Yes.
And what did that do in terms of putting, like they say, the hairs on the back of your neck and the adrenaline flowing to some crazy level?
It still brings
preparation.
chills. It still brings chills. I was about a year ago. We have a friend now. You know, I was in the era where we just had video recorders. Right, we didn't have iPhones, or we didn't have smartphones, so we couldn't record. Technology wasn't as advanced as it was today. So you had to have the big cassette tape to be able to record your game. And we have a friend that actually recorded the game, so I was able to see it and vicariously relive it through watching it. It's an awe moment. You know, especially for a lot of players from the East Side that don't have the opportunity to play college ball, being able to play in the East LA Classic and to play in front of 20,000 plus fans, and to know that they're out to watch the teams compete. Just the minute you step on the field, it's a surreal experience. I was fortunate enough to play last year in our alumni football game against Roosevelt High School, which we won, by the way. But the Rough Riders gave us a good run for our money. The stadium wasn't as crowded, but still, just walking into a football stadium and being able to play, it's a pretty neat experience.
Well, Ozzie, you touched on another topic that we're going to ask. In fact, one of your colleagues, a good friend of yours, is Cesar Trillo over at Roosevelt. We're going to ask him to come in at some point in the near future and talk about this alumni surge that's going on in our community here, because we now know that Roosevelt and Garfield, but now Shure, Southgate, Lincoln, I think there's a couple of more schools that are wanting to really dive in here now and get that going. So that is going to be a very, very important, I believe, event for our community.
I think so. It's an event where we're able to revisit with old friends, reconnect with old friends that we haven't seen in a while. Separate from the Facebook and the technology that we have today. The alumni football games for a lot of high school alums, or for the high school alums that played ball, it's an opportunity to reunite and share stories. And even though technology is evolving, there isn't anything better than this, the face-to-face human interaction.
Yes.
And when I played, I was able to revisit with a few friends that I hadn't seen in some years. And now we're communicating on a regular basis to this day. And I think it's important, from one thing for me, my children, I have 5 children, and my oldest, they always heard about Dad playing football. They heard the stories, but they're actually able to see Dad play. So I think that for even the younger kids, those that are in their early 30s, late 20s, or just graduated, for them to be able to have their little siblings play, or their children watch them play, it's a very positive environment that we can place.
And it's good to see that you as an athlete, a student athlete in your high school days, and probably even before that, I want to go maybe say to the middle school and that era when you were out there just learning to play flag football or baseball or basketball, the sports passion stayed with you, and it's now carrying on through your children.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's again, I manage a technology center, so the importance of technology I can't speak enough of, and I think that we're going to get into that in a little bit. But by the same token, for young children that are into sports and that are into recreation, I can't stress to parents or to the youth enough how important it is to stay active. Play a sport, play a team sport, because that really does define It helps build character. It helps build team camaraderie. It helps develop friendships.
Yes.
And that's an important part of developing as a human being.
Mhm.
My daughters, they're swimmers.
Oh,
you know,
very good.
and I'm very proud of them. My oldest is going to be going off to Northridge.
Mm.
She swam varsity swim, and she did varsity cheer at Alhambra all 4 years.
Wow.
I'm very proud of my middle daughter, who at the age of 13 made the varsity water polo team at Alhambra High School.
Wow.
That's a big, for our family,
that's
that's a
huge.
big to do.
Yes.
And she also made varsity swim. So they're very active, and my little ones are just getting to that
Yes.
active stage. So
Okay.
whether it's in your school or at a park or at a rec center, all I can say to parents is find that sport for your child, take them out there, and make sure that they stay actively involved.
Okay. Ozzie, let's move now, quickly now, if we can move the needle forward just a little bit. After high school, those really, really crucial times of, as they say, growing up.
Mhm.
You got to leave the high school, pretty much the home area, home base, so to speak,
Yep.
and venture out. Tell us, where did you decide to go to college and take up your higher education?
I started off at community college.
Okay.
My story is long. My undergraduate and my graduate experiences are very long. I knew early on that I needed to be successful in school. You
Okay.
know, I'm an immigrant, came to this country at the age of 5. My parents are laborers. My mom cleaned hotel. My dad was a mechanic.
Mm.
So, you know, immigrants come to this country
Sure.
to provide a better quality of life for their children. And if I didn't graduate from college, I wouldn't be doing them any justice or doing
Mhm.
them
Wow.
any right by it.
Very powerful.
And I was the first in my college I was the first in my family to go to school.
Okay.
I started off at the community college, went to East L.A., went to Pasadena City College, then I got my associate's degree at East L.A. College.
Okay.
From there, I got an undergrad at Cal State L.A. in political science.
Nice.
And I have a master's in public administration from National University.
Wow. Okay.
And, you know, on that, you know, that saying that college isn't for everybody, it is true. But what I do implore the students and the kids that I work with here every day is that whether you choose to go or not to go, you should prepare with the skill set to go to college. So focus on your studies. I can't stress that enough. You know,
Mhm.
be able to go by choice. So
Yes.
choose what path you want to take, but at least have the credentials to be able to say, you know what, yes, it is for me, or no, it isn't
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
We should have all of our kids have that as kind of the barometer that when you graduate high school, you should graduate with the qualifications to get you into a university.
Okay. And then, of course, after your degree, the world of work, you mentioned having worked for 4 consecutive mayors.
Mhm.
Can we pick up the story there where you really got into that 9 to 5 or that civil servant
Yeah.
posture and profession?
Well, I got into the 9 to 5 right out of high school. As I was sharing my story, I was graduated. I was hired by the city of LA for the Summer Youth Employment Program while I was still a senior in high school.
Okay.
And I literally began working for the city
Wow.
5 days after I graduated high school.
Wow.
So my college or my academic life, the beginning of my family, and then my employment, all kind of encompassed all my life growing up together from the time that I was 18 to my mid-20s when I finished school. I was already working full-time. I had a family, and I finished school, so I was able to
Mhm.
find the time to make it work. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we say that to our students a lot. Life isn't easy. You know, when you're striving for something that's good in life,
Okay.
you're gonna have to overcome obstacles and barriers, and there are gonna be points in life where you say, you know what, I can't take it anymore, and I don't want to do it. But you got to dig deep.
Yes.
And I dug deep within myself. That
Okay.
again, because of the promise that I made to myself
Mhm.
of finishing college,
Okay.
because of my parents' work,
Yes.
I dug deep, and
Okay.
I persevered, and I overcame. And
Okay, one more thought here, Oz, before we go to our first break. And as you mentioned, with a very, very strong conviction and commitment, your parents. And now, looking up to the present, the mindset and the, how would you call it, the relationship and just the pride factor that your folks have for you. Can you speak a little bit about that?
yeah, my mom, she's extremely proud of me. I know that she is. You know, I'm her oldest. I'm the oldest of 3.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother, he didn't go to college. He chose to not go, but he's very successful in the private sector. He's doing what he needs to do for
Sure.
his family. And my younger sister went to college, and she just graduated actually a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So my mom's hard work paid off, I think.
Okay.
She raises with good morals, with good character, under the home that, you know, you respect your neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
you respect everyone else just as much as you want to be respected.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all human beings, and we all
Okay.
merit respect, and that's the way that we carry our lives. That's the way
Okay.
that I carried my life. But I love my mother to death.
Sure.
She's the one that guided me through the tough times.
Okay.
Your mom doesn't ever abandon you,
No.
right?
Never.
At the end of the day, we always revert back to our mothers when we find ourselves in a crisis situation, even if it's just for a hug or a kiss.
Yes, absolutely.
So for that, I thank her. Thank you, Mom. Muchas
Okay.
gracias. But I know that they're proud, and, you know, now my job is to work hard, to keep
Mhm.
working hard, so that hopefully my children can have a better life for themselves. And always bringing it back to the work that I do. It's the type of work, what I'm talking to you about right now is
Mhm.
the type of conversation that I have with the kids here.
Yes.
You know, we need to, as a community, push them to strive for success. Have them
Very,
believe in themselves.
very, very important work you do here, Ozzie, and we're going to accent that and go into a little bit more depth here on that, on your day-to-day, what Ozzie Lopez does here as the executive director of this outstanding facility here known as the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, and we're going to do that after we take a quick break here on East L.A. Sports Scene. And we're coming to you here on the second day of July in the year 2013. And it's our guest here, special guest, Mr. Ozzie Lopez, the Executive Director of the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And as we return, we're speaking to Ozzie Lopez, and it's a big job that he does here every day, but one that he comes con todo el corazón. He brings it here every day because there's so much really riding on so many youngsters that are here, so many youth that benefit from this center, Ozzie, that you certainly have to almost literally know each and every one of the students.
It gets pretty close to
And because of that relationship that's cultivated here is so critical for them. And we want you to really now, Ozzie, to kind of tell us what a typical day is, and month to month maybe, or in the
Okay.
contract times, and being a part of the city itself.
Okay.
So,
Well, definitely, our program, the Boyle Heights Technology Youth Center, or the Youth Opportunity Movement Program, a combination of the both. The Youth Center piece is the actual facility that we're in. The Youth Opportunity is the actual program that I administer. It's a part of it's a part of the former Community Development Department with the City of L.A. And as of yesterday, that department transitioned over to the Economic Workforce Development
Okay.
Department, where the focus is our focus now is to identify young adults that are finding themselves in experiencing hardships, or finding themselves in difficult times, that are out of school, out of work, that did not graduate from high school. And
Okay.
essentially our role and responsibility is to identify a pathway to self-sustainability
Yes.
through 3 channels, whether it's through education, whether it's through professional development, vocational training, or whether it's through employment. So we've been working for many years already in that field, but we put a specific focus in the dropout recovery component to it this last year, and we're doing it again this fiscal year, which our fiscal year for us runs from July 1
Okay.
through June 30th. So we just began a new year yesterday, effective
yes,
yesterday.
absolutely.
So we're very excited about the work that we're going to be doing. We're partnering with the Los Angeles Unified School District, in which they are currently doing a academic assessment for every student that we identify that does not have their high school diploma or does not have their GED.
Okay.
What they will do is as an example, if we came across a student that that was out of school 3 years ago, well, they got to go and dig up the transcripts.
Okay.
Our partner here with the Yale Unified will do that for them, and then we'll make a recommendation in terms of what path he or she should take. Should they do the GED program? Should they do the high school diploma program? Should they do a combination of both?
Okay.
And then we have a very intensive career coach program where all of the students, again, in developing a better quality of life. Well, what does that mean, right? Well, we want you to be self-sustainable.
Sure.
We want you to be able to take care of yourself. And a lot of the youth that we work with have been misguided, have not been formally educated in the process of fiscal responsibility. Workplace attire. How do you conduct yourself in the workplace? If we're training you for employment, do you have the skill sets, the employable skill sets that someone is looking for?
Yes.
How being involved in civic engagement, how do you give back to your community? That's an important part also in
Yes.
terms of appreciating who you are and what your community provides for you. So we provide financial literacy, work writing and certificate training, We provide internship opportunities.
Mhm.
And we also do an important component that we brought in this year is that all of our students go through a psychosocial assessment.
Okay.
So we want to find out if you dropped out of school, obviously there's an academic setback. But what are the other factors
Mhm,
currently in
mhm.
your life that are keeping you from finishing?
Yeah.
Are you experiencing economic hardship? Are you experiencing some relationship issues? Could there be a learning disability that the school district that
Mhm,
you were
mhm.
in could have completely missed?
Yes.
So this psychosocial assessment is giving us a first step in making sure that we're planning the right program for you so you can get back on your feet.
Mhm.
That's part of the work that we do.
Yes.
Obviously, that's one component. We also have a high school here on site. We have a partnership with the L.A. County Office of Education.
Okay.
So we have a 10th to 12th grade high school. It's called the Boyle Heights Technology Academy.
Okay.
The focus there being technology. We have about 60 students that are enrolled,
Mhm.
and we're very excited about the work that we're doing.
Okay.
It's considered an alternative ed program. And the one thing, Rico, that I'm very proud of, this particular program's basis was to have students come into the program, make up their credits, their high school credits that they were behind, and then go back to their home school.
Okay.
Well, we said to the LACO, the LA County Office of Ed District, and say, let us develop this pilot program where the students will come here from 9th through 12th grade. They
Mhm.
will stay here, and we will surround them with a system of supportive wraparound services.
Okay.
And we will demonstrate that these students can be just as successful as any other kid in any other school.
Ah. Okay.
And we, in the last 3 years, we have had over 27 students go to a 4-year university, be accepted to a 4-year. And this last year, we had the very first student that broke the UC system.
Oh,
She's off to
nice.
UC Riverside.
Very good.
So we're very excited
Outstanding.
about that.
Okay.
And we have the television studio here where we
Mhm.
do workshops, we do training, we do PSAs for the local community nonprofit
Mhm.
organizations. We have programs such as your program, the East L.A. Sports Scene, and others that we
Yes.
offer the studio to be able to tape the shows and provide the viewership to those folks about the very important things in the sports world,
Mhm,
in the field of
mhm.
academics that are taking place. And we also do studio recording production training.
Oh,
so,
yes.
So pretty multifaceted. I like to
And
think.
that studio, can I say audio, because it's
Mhm.
basically a music studio,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Up on the second floor,
Mhm.
where we've seen youngsters that are maybe interested in hip hop or
Mhm.
writing their own
Yeah.
rap music, and then going up and with staff here,
Yeah.
learning how to get it down in terms of the beats, in terms of the audio components, and all
Music
those kind of
engineering.
things. Yeah.
Music engineering is a big field. There's a big career opportunity for a lot of minorities in our community to go into that field, especially a lot of Latinos.
Yes.
It's still an area that's still very green.
Okay.
That we need to not just know how to conduct ourselves behind the mic, but
Mhm.
the real jobs are how are you managing the equipment.
Yeah, and the technical production of
Correct.
those shows. Ozzie, let's also talk about now and quickly give our viewers a student profile. Might some of the kids that come through the doors on a daily basis and for a school year period, might they come from, well, I don't want to so much call it, well, not the projects so much anymore, but the
Housing
housing
development?
development
Yeah.
areas.
They come from the entire surrounding community. Because of the high school that we have with the LA County Office of Education, we have students that come as far away from the unincorporated parts of the county. So they'll
towards
come from as
Indiana
far-
and
they'll come from East L.A., Montebello,
Okay.
Commerce, Cudahy. That's for the high school that we have. In terms of some of the direct program services that we offer for those students that are out of school, that are part of the Dropout Recovery Program, they must live in the city of LA.
Okay.
So if you are one of those students that didn't graduate from high school, that lives in the city of LA, that wants to get your life back on track or finish what you didn't finish, please visit us. We're located at 1600 East 4th Street on the corner of 4th and Gless in the community of Boyle Heights. We're a big building that you can't miss. And our job is to work with the clients and to work with the members of the community to make sure that we can, help increase the level of academic success a youth at a time.
And one other great offering to the community is that when the students are not in session, this becomes like a community, well, can we call it an epicenter for activity, perhaps recreation, meetings,
A lot.
presentations?
It's at the end of the day, the Boyle Heights Technology Youth Center, when it was built out in 2006, it was built out for us to administer the programs that I mentioned to you, but at the same time, it was built out so that it could be a civic center, right? From the standpoint that if we have the space and there's an organization that's doing something positive for the community, we want to work in partnership with you. So we're always inviting nonprofit organizations to also bring their services to our site.
Okay.
As an example, we partner with the LA Care Health Plan, who has here their monthly meetings. We partner with the Boyle Heights Beat, which is a local community-based newspaper that I think you've you've worked with them before. We have Antioch University that offers a bridge program. I don't know if you were aware of that, but every Monday and Wednesday, they're actually taking applications for the fall semester right now. It's a free tuition-based program that provides up to 12 units of coursework, and the basis of their classes are just to get people that have an interest in going to college on getting them the know-how and the skill sets beyond that.
And as you also mentioned, there's East L.A. Community College and then East L.A. Occupational Center. So you have a myriad and a number of partners and co-sponsors that are partaking and helping to keep the the center here growing in that mode.
And it isn't just about the center growing, right? It's about providing services to the community. We want to make sure that, you know, if you come here and you're looking to improve the quality of your life or improve the situation that you find yourself in, that we try to offer or exhaust every opportunity to provide those services for you here on site. One thing that gets overlooked a lot, especially in our community here where we're located at, is that distance becomes a barrier.
Yes.
You know, so as an example, East LA College is providing classes here, and I am pushing them, continuing to push them to provide some credit core courses here that students can take. Why? Because if you live in the Boyle Heights community or in the East Side community, and you're on public transportation, it can take you upwards to an hour and a half to get to the campus.
Yes.
Even with the Gold Line, because you still got to get off on Atlantic and Beverly, and then you still have to walk.
Okay. Yes.
So why not bring the college to the community?
Makes sense.
If we have the space for it.
And Ozzie, kind of to close out this segment here, I feel very, very grateful to Council Member Jose Huizar.
Yeah.
Because this is actually a byproduct of his, I think, progressive thinking. Back when there was cable, this was the Time Warner last outpost, so to speak, before they went dark on public access. But they remained intact here with the studio. And the Councilman Huizar said, gladly, we want to incorporate this into the center.
Yeah, and obviously we want to always continue to thank Councilmember Jose Huizar for his leadership and his progressive thinking, as you indicated. He's been a big supporter of the organization, not because he just likes me or he likes the center, but because he's seen the quality of services that we provide. And we're working with him to improve the quality of the constituency, which is here within the 14th Council District. So a big props to Councilmember Huizar. Thank you, sir, for everything that you've done for the community and that you continue to do on behalf of your constituents.
Last point, Ozzie, here, before we kind of wind up on our interview here, but the T word in the title is technology. And that has become such a explosive word now, because when you say technology, well, what device are you talking about? And is it an iPad, an iPod? Is it a smartphone? Is it the Mac system? Is it PCs? But right here, you tie everything together because of the technology being infused as part of the curriculum, correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and it's a combination of all. You know, we have PCs, we have Macs, we have iPads, we have obviously the cameras to be able to provide such. And what we want to do is we want to introduce our community to that field, right? Yes. For a very long time, communities in the inner city do get left behind, especially in the advances of technology. Technology advances so rapidly. Yes. And we have some of the smartest users. We had a hackathon event here about a little bit over a month ago.
Yes.
And we had over 300 people that came by, and it was to develop software applications. And the conversation that day, the energy was just very positive. It was very energetic. The conversation that day was that our youth are very tech savvy. You've heard that before, right? Yes. Which they are. But the concern that I had when that comment was made is that our youth are tech savvy from the consumer perspective. We need to get tech savvy from the developer perspective. We need to learn how to create, not just consume. Okay. And in the inner city, that's one of the things that I'm going to make sure that we continue to focus on is how are we working with technology from a creation standpoint rather than a consumer standpoint.
Very,
big
very good point. And we hope to watch and see how you unfold that here through the center and all the good things that are happening here. So that will conclude this part 2 here with Ozzie Lopez. We say that in this sense that we're going to just come back for our closing remarks and our wrap up here on this edition, a special edition of East L.A. Sports Scene. And as we speak here, it's just because of the opportunity and the privilege that we've been granted here by Ozzie to come in and produce East L.A. Sports Scene. You've seen the type of individuals we've brought into the studio, and it's all sports related, and that's our theme. But from time to time, we do need to just step aside and bring in the heavy hitters in our community that really are the movers and shakers and really are behind us. This opportunity that we have here on East LA Sports Scene, and we will always be forever grateful,
Thank you,
Ozzie, for granting us this special privilege. We'll be back with our closeout in just a moment. This is East LA Sports Scene. And welcome back to our conclusion here with our interview with Ozzie Lopez, the Executive Director of the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center. And Ozzie, as we like to do with our guests and closing things out, give them opportunities for their closing remarks. And I know that there's a few things you'd like to leave with our viewers. Mm-hmm. So we might want to say get out the pen and pencil or be able to put it onto their device, their computer. But I give you the floor here to make those remarks to our viewers.
Thank you very much, Rico. So for those of you that are out there watching, if you're a parent and want to get your child involved, or your young teenage boy or girl involved, or if you yourself are a teenager and want to get back into the swing of completing your education and just being a part of an organization that's going to work with you to help get you where you need to get, please visit us. We do have a Facebook page. We're at Facebook.com/Technology Youth Center. We also have a website. It's www.layo.org, or feel free to come and visit us. We're at 1600 East 4th Street, Los Angeles, California 90033, right on the corner of 4th and Gless. Our telephone number, if you have any questions, is area code 323-526-5800. So please visit us. We definitely want to make sure that we provide as many opportunities for the young adults within our society, because at the end of the day, they are the future of our communities and of our city. And
if I can just add one question here, Ozzie, daily hours of operation?
We are open Monday. Good question. We're open Monday through Saturday. So Monday through Friday, we're open from Monday through Thursday. We're open from 8:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the evening. On Fridays, we're open from 8:30 to 6 p.m. And on Saturdays, we're open from 8:30 to 2.
Okay.
So we're definitely an accessible organization. If you have to go to work during the week, you can always come visit us on a Saturday. And if you get out at 5 o'clock, we're open until 8:30. So there's really no excuse.
Okay, and the public is welcome if someone just sees the program and wants to come in and possibly ask for a tour? Or
without a doubt, we'd be happy to provide people people of our community with a tour so they can see the facility for itself. If you're interested in doing one of our dropout recovery programs, we do have orientation scheduled. So our orientations are Tuesdays, 9 o'clock in the morning, and Thursdays, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Please call beforehand, because there is some paperwork that you need to bring for the orientation, and make sure that you have a couple of hours, because there's not only paperwork but a test that you have to take once enrolling for the program.
And lastly, Ozzie, if I'm one of the civic-minded and civic engagement residents of East L.A. or Boyle Heights, and I do I'm about to retire, or I have retired, and I want to maybe volunteer some time. Is there an assessment that someone can come in and speak to you about?
Yes. We do have a volunteer recruitment process that our volunteers have to go through. We're always asking for people to donate of their time. I think that's an important aspect in terms of not just giving back to your community, but helping make your community a better and safer place to live. And that can only be done by the village that resides in it and the people that live within that village.
And again, just as a reminder, this is a City of Los Angeles, fully funded, fully staffed operation, so the public should have really no doubt about this facility being operated just as if it were a city hall.
Yes, well,
so a government.
We're a government agency
center.
that functions similar to a nonprofit. But at the end of the day, and I say this to my team and to everybody that we work with, we're here at the taxpayers' expense.
Okay.
So our responsibility is to work for the taxpayers. Okay. And we do a very good job at it, I like to think. Thank you, Reese.
Ozzie Lopez,
Thank
we
you very
thank
much.
you, and
Thank
our
you.
community thanks you
No,
for
thank
the
you, Rico. I
outstanding work
appreciate
and the
it for your time.
dedication you've given to our youth and to the adults and parents, and just as you say, the village that surrounds this center, but it also goes beyond. And I'm sure everyone, if they have the opportunity to personally thank you, they would do so because they're reaping some benefit at some point in time, maybe through their child or through them personally. But we thank you again, Ozzie, and your staff. Too numerous to name right now, but your staff here at the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, we certainly want to also take time here from East L.A. Sports Scene and thank them because it really takes.
So if I can, it's Joe, Juan, Victor,
Okay.
Marie, Mary D, Andrea, Antonio, Carolina, Tanisha, Karina. That's all of them right there. Thank you.
Okay. Well said by our leader and executive director, Ozzie Lopez. So for Eric Sarney and yours truly, Rico Cabrera, thanks for watching this edition of East LA Sports Scene. Remember, stay healthy. You will be wealthy, and get that workout in.
Yes.
If you see something here you like, go to it. If not, you can walk, you could run, go to any high school, go to East LA College. Many facilities here in our community that are, the doors are open for you to go in there and get that workout, or you just maybe have to do it at home.
Yes.
Or come here to the
Or come
center. There's Zumba classes
we do have
here.
Zumba
and
and
there's
aerobics classes.
Oh,
so those are
everything
pretty good.
is going on right here. We want you with us for many, many more years to come. So that'll do it for this edition of East LA Sports Scene. Take care, and we'll see you on our next program.